Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today for our programming tutorial on creating a rat race game using Scratch. So the first thing that you need to do today is to get logged into Scratch. If you haven't yet signed up, then just pause the tutorial now and go ahead and get yourself signed up. And then once you're on Scratch, the next thing you need to do is in the search bar, if you type in cartwheels and creations, and then click on Studios, you will come to the Cartwheels and Creations Studio. Let me just do that now to show you. So type in Cartwheels and Creations, press enter. It's not under, it'll say nothing found under projects, but if you click on Studios, click on Cartwheels and Creations, and you will see there are two different rat race things on here. We've got rat race template and rat race game. So to start with, I will show you the game, but once we've had a look at the game, you're going to go back and use the template and then remix that to get started on your own project. So let me show you the game first so that you can see what it is that you're going to create today. So I'm clicking on rat race game, and that's just opening up now. You can see that I've put some instructions on here. It says click the green flag to play this two-player game, control the white mouse using the left and right arrow keys to turn, control the pink mouse using the Z and X keys to turn. So it's for two players both using the same keyboard. The first mouse to complete 3 laps wins the game. Now obviously when I'm showing you today, I'm just going to be showing you by myself. So I'm going to control just one of the mice, and the other mouse will just kind of do its own thing. So don't worry about that. But obviously if you were playing with somebody else, then that mouse would be moving too. Let's do that now. So I'm going to click the green flag. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I'm using the arrow keys. I've gone off the edge. There we go. I'm moving the white mouse with my arrow keys. You can see that when I go off the edge of the track onto the green bit, it moves more slowly. And on that greeny yellow part, it moves very slowly. Okay, so my laps have changed. Oh, I've gone off again. My laps have changed to 1 because I've done 1 whole lap of the track. And I need to do 3 laps to win. Obviously, I don't have much competition at the moment because nobody's playing against me. So I will be the winner. That's 2 laps. Oh no, I've done it again. See, I keep going over that same little bit of grass and slowing myself down. So if I was playing against somebody, they'd probably have overlapped me by now. Okay, going back round again. Ooh, here we go. And over the red line. Yes, that's 3 laps. And yes, you can say it says white wins. Okay, now if you want to make this game yourself, you're going to carry on and follow on with this tutorial. I have written down here what to do as well. It says you can click on my mouse race template, which was the other one that we just saw. It includes all the sprites and the backgrounds that you need so that you just have to focus on the programming. So you don't have to worry today about creating a background or picking characters. The characters in the background are already there. All you'll need to be doing is actually putting in the programming to make the game work. If you get stuck at all, just pause the tutorial, or you can just watch today and then have a go afterwards if you want. There's also lots of resource sheets on our website that you can print out on www.cartwheelsandcreations.com under the videos and resources page. Okay, so if you just on the arrow at the top left, you probably can't see it because my picture's in the way, but if you just click left to go back, and then you'll see there's one called Rat Race Template. You're going to click on there. And then you should have a remix button. You might have to click see inside first, but there should be a button that says remix somewhere near the top. I'm just going to click see inside. And if you click remix, you will also be looking inside the game now. And if you've clicked remix, it means it's now a game for you to use as one of your games. So you can rename it. So instead of calling it Rat Race Template, you can call it Rat Race Game, or Rat Race My Game, whatever you want to, or Mouse Race, whatever you think it should be called. Okay, so we're ready to begin programming our Rat Race game. As you can see, this is the area where you see what it is that's going on in the game. Down here we've got our characters or our sprites. You can see we've got the pink rat, the white rat, the 3, 2, 1 go, the wins, white and pink lettering. We've also got some backdrops that I've given you to get started. So if you click on stage, and then backdrops, you can see that I've put 3 different backdrops on the template for you. We've got a track backdrop, which is the main backdrop that you're going to be using. We have a plain white backdrop for when the white rat wins, and a plain pink backdrop for when the pink rat wins. It's quite tricky to draw a background from scratch, which is how I did the track. I went to the paint backdrop and then paint. And if you see me hovering over it here, you can see I've actually put it together with lots of little circles and lines. I don't really recommend starting again on it unless you particularly want to do a different type of track. All the tools are obviously here to do that. So if you are going to do your own track, you might want to pause the tutorial while you do that so you don't miss what's going to happen next. But the reason I've given you the template is so that you can focus on the programming rather than having to focus on creating backgrounds or customizing characters. So I'm going to switch back now to code because we're interested in the coding and the programming. At the moment, it's showing me the coding for the track because I was clicked on track. But I don't want the coding for the track, I want the coding for my rat. So we're going to go up and click on the pink rat. You also need to make sure that the first thing we're going to say to our game is that we want the track to show at the beginning. And it may be that you're seeing a different background because that's the last background that you were clicked on before you came back to the rat. That's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. We're going to say, we're going to go to events. We're going to say when the green flag is clicked, which is what starts the game. We're going to say when the green flag is clicked, we're going to then say switch backdrop. So go to looks, and we're going to say switch backdrop to, and choose stage. I mean track. Choose track. Okay, so we want the track backdrop at the beginning. This programming has nothing to do with the pink rat, but we just stuck it on the pink rat's programming page. It doesn't really matter which page this is on, but we've basically said when we click the green flag to show this backdrop. So if you're not seeing this backdrop, just click the green flag once you've done this and it will appear. Okay, lovely. Now we're going to start programming our rats. Now they're not quite in the correct position at the moment. They've snuck in front of the line here. This is the coordinates of where they are at the moment, showing where they are on the X and Y axis, or where the pink rat is rather. If I move the pink rat just to behind the line, those coordinates have now changed to -90, -106. And that's where I want him to start. Let's just check that the white rat fits next to him. Yeah, I might move, just make sure they sort of sit next to each other nicely in that space. When you've positioned them and you're happy, let's go back to the pink rat's programming, and I'm going to tell it where I want it to start. So I'm going to say events. When the green flag is clicked, then I'm going to go to motion, and I'm going to say go to, and I'm going to tell him where to go. Now I want my pink rat to go to where he is at the moment, which is -90 and 109. So I'm just going to type that in here, -90, 109. That may have already changed. That may be in there automatically for you. Okay, so I've done that. I'm going to do the same for the white rat. So I've put him in the place I want him. I'm going to say when the green flag is clicked, and then I'm going to say looks, no, not looks. I'm going to say motion, go to, and I'm going to put in the coordinates where he is at the moment, which is -86, oh, -86, and then 88. Okay, so that will make sure that our characters start in the correct position. Just to point something out, you can see it says size 30. That's because if they were 100%, they'd be way too big for the track. So I did have to change the size of each sprite. I got the sprites from here by clicking on choose a sprite. You can see there's loads of different sprites you can choose, but I wanted some sprites that we had a bird's eye view of. I'm just going to click back, and then I duplicated and edited the pink one. Let me just show you how I did that. If I click on the pink rat and go to costumes, I basically adjusted the costume to make it pink, so you could just to fill in all of those different gaps like that, so you can colour in whatever colour you want to select. I'm not actually going to worry about colouring him in blue. I'm going to stick with pink. If you are going to colour in your rats, make sure you colour both costumes. It's got one costume with a curved tail and one costume with a straight tail, and the legs are in slightly different positions. And when we program a costume change later, it will look like our rat is moving when it moves. But for now, I'm just going to press Control Z. Oh no, it's not letting me. Okay, so I need to go back to the correct colour. So under Fill, I can choose the dropper tool. I'm going to select that pink and just colour him back in again. Okay, so he's back to normal. I'm going to go back to the code now up at the top here and get on with the programming. So if you're going to be messing around with costumes and backgrounds, it's good fun, but save that for afterwards or have a go at doing that and then come back and do the rest of the tutorial. Okay, so let's do the programming for the pink rat. We want the pink rat to move on its own, and then we're going to make it turn left and right with the arrow keys to navigate around the track. So what we're going to do, we're going to choose a forever block. So we're going to go to Control and we're going to say forever, and we're going to go to Motion and we're going to say Move, and you're going to say how many steps you want it to move. So at the moment 10 steps is really, really fast because he moves 10 steps at once, which is quite a lot. So watch what happens when I press the green flag. Woo! See how quickly the pink rat moved there. Let me show you that again. Woo! See, he moves off the screen really, really fast. So I'm going to slow that down. I'm going to say move. I'm going to go for 3. That's what I used in my game and it felt about right. So if I press the green flag now, there you go. That's a really good speed. It gives you time to press the arrows to make it turn and it will make the game work well. Okay, so I'm happy with that. You'll notice that every time I press the green flag, it does go back to the beginning. I can just press stop there if I still want to see it. I don't want it to start moving straight away though. I want a little wait at the beginning so that I can do the 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm also going to add in a wait block. So if I go to Control, can you see there's one that says wait? I'm going to put that underneath the coordinates. So I've said when the green flag is clicked, go to these coordinates and wait for, let's say, 3 seconds. And then forever move 3 steps. So now if I press the green flag, 1, 2, 3, and then he starts moving. Perfect. Okay, so it just gives you a little bit of time to get ready, and we're going to set up this 3, 2, 1, go in a minute. Let's just put this. Let's put the same programming onto the white rat. Now, the quickest way to do that is we don't want to move the coordinates, just this wait part. Just take it and drag it and let go of it on the white rat, and then pop that back together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle the way it clips together. Then if you click on the white rat, hopefully what you've just dragged will be there, and you can just slot that onto the white rat's coordinates. So now both of them are going to go to their coordinates, wait for 3 seconds, and then forever move. And that's activated by clicking the green flag. So let's just check that. 3, 2, 1, and they both start moving. Perfect. Okay, lovely. Let's sort out the 3, 2, 1, go next, because it would look really cool to have that flashing up on the screen, and it is a good way to get the players ready to start. So the first thing that we want to see is the number 3. So I'm going to click on number 3, and you can see I've already put a show block on here. So we're going to say when the green flag is clicked, which is under events, we want the number 3 to show. Then we want it to stay on the screen for 1 second. So we're going to say wait for 1 second, and then we want it to hide. So that's quite straightforward for that one. There we go, hide. Okay, now we're going to click on the number 2. We're going to say events when the green flag is clicked, and we don't actually want it to show straight away. When the green flag is clicked, we want it to hide because we don't want to see the number 2 yet. So we're going to go to looks and choose hide, which is down here. Then we need to wait again. So we're going to go to Control. We're going to say wait for 1 second while the number 3 is showing. Then it's going to show. Then it's going to wait for 1 second while it's on the screen, and then we want it to hide again. So I need to go back to looks and choose hide. There we go. Okay, now to make it quicker for the next one, I'm going to drag this onto number 1. So I'm going to go down there, hover over number 1. Oh, it's a bit tricky because it's under the sprite button. There we go. If I click on one, you can see it's moved across. This show block you don't need now, just drag that off the screen. So for number 1, we want it to be hiding at the beginning. We want it to stay hidden for 2 seconds while 3 and 2 are showing. Then we want it to show for 1 second, then we want it to hide. I'm going to drag this onto the G for go now. So let's just scroll down here. Drag that onto the G. Click on G. Oh, that didn't work. It didn't appear. Okay, let's go back again. Did it go onto the O instead? No. Sometimes it doesn't work if you let go at slightly the wrong place. So let's just try that again. I'm going to try and drag that onto the G. Let me scroll down again. I'm going to drag it. It kind of wobbles when it's about to go, like when you're hovering on the right place. Oh no, do you know what? I can see why. It's because I'm It's because I'm in that bottom left corner. It is here, look. How strange. Okay, never mind. Get rid of that show block. Come back along here. Yeah, it's here. Okay. Oh, and it appeared twice. I had done it the first time. Get rid of that. Okay, lovely. Right, so with G, I don't know why it's taken me to the bottom right. Let's just move this up so that it's in the correct place. It's a bit strange. There is a quick way of moving your blocks around, actually. You can right click somewhere on the screen and you can say clean up blocks. I don't know why it's not letting me do it. Normally you can click clean up blocks and it puts it in the correct place for you. Anyway, as long as it's on there, it's going to work. So we said when the green flag is clicked, we want the G to hide at the beginning. Then we want it to wait for 3 seconds while it says 3, 2, 1. Then we want it to show for 1 second and then to hide. And we want exactly the same programming for the O. So I'm going to move that onto the O next. Click on the O, get rid of that extra show. Great. Now hopefully that will work. Let's press the green flag and test it out. 3, 2, 1, go. And as it says go, our little rats start moving. So that's perfect. Now we need to be able to make the rats move left and right so that we can navigate them around the track. So if we go back up and click on the pink rats, and we're going to set up how we want to make the rat turn. Now this is a 2-player game, so normally you would have one person using keys on the left side of the keyboard and one person using keys on the right side of the keyboard. So I'm going to say on the left side of the keyboard I want the Z and X to be used, and on the right side of the keyboard I want the 2 arrow keys to be used. And because my pink rat is on the left, he's going to be my left hand player. So the pink rat is going to be using the Z and X keys. So we're going to say events and then see where it says when space is pressed, bring that across and change it to when the Z key is pressed. So we're going to say when the Z key is pressed, we want him to turn to the left because the Z is on the left on my keyboard. So this is to do with moving. So we go to motion and we're going to say turn 15 degrees anti-clockwise, so just a little bit to the left. He's kind of rotating on the spot. You can see that already now. If I press the Z key, can you see my pink? I keep pressing it and he's rotating around. Okay, so now we want to do the right, rotating to the right. So if I right click and press duplicate, click it, put it there. This time we change it to the X key and I'm going to have him turning the opposite way, so turning clockwise. Okay, so now I can try that. So when I press the Z, he goes that way. When I press the X, he goes that way. I don't know if you saw there, but it just flashed up on my screen saying project saved. It does automatically save as you go along, but if you're ever worried about losing something you've just done, you can click save now when that appears on the top bar here if you want to at any point. But it does make regular saves throughout the game or throughout your programming. I'm going to do the same thing for my white rat now. I'm going to go onto the white rat and go to events, but instead of saying when space key is pressed or X key or Z key, we're going to say when the left arrow key is pressed. We want him to motion, we want him to turn anti-clockwise to the left, and then I'm just going to click duplicate. No, not add comment, close that. Right click, duplicate. When the right arrow is pressed, get rid of that bit. I want him to turn to the right. Okay, lovely. So we've got when the left arrow key is pressed, go like this. When the right arrow key is pressed, do this. So I can test that out now with my arrow keys. Yep, you can see that he moves. So now I should, in theory, be able to navigate my mouse all the way around the track. So if I press the green flag, I'm going to try and move the pink rat using the Z and the X. 3, 2, 1, go. Yep, and I can do this. Now, at the moment, you can see it's quite easy for me to cheat. I can just go across the red line. Yep, nearly anyway. Yeah, I can just do this. I can take shortcuts basically across the grass. And I'm going to press stop now. We want to discourage those shortcuts. We don't want people taking shortcuts to win. We want people to feel like they need to follow the track. So what I did with the game that I created that you already saw earlier is I made it so that when he goes on the grass, he goes super slow. And when he goes on this light green grass, he goes even slower. So let me show you how to do that next. It's a conditional statement. We need to go to control, and we need to choose the block that says if then. So we are going to say if touching, so go to sensing because it's to do with sensing, and we're going to use the colour one. So we're going to say if touching, and let's use the colour grey because this is the one we've already done. If touching colour grey, I'm just going to take this out of here where it says move 3 steps, and I'm going to ping that back in there. So forever, if touching colour grey, then he moves 3 steps at a time. But let's do another if and then. We're going to put that underneath. If, let's go for touching colour, and I've got to select the correct green. So if I click on there, click on that dropper, I can then select the green that I want. So if touching the dark green, then I want him to move. So I'm going to go to motion. I'm going to say 0.5 steps. So like half a step at a time. So that's pretty slow. Let's try that out. So I've pressed the green flag. I've just programmed that on my white rat, I can see, because he's selected. So I'm going to have a go with my white rat this time using the arrow keys. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no, he's not moving. Let's stop that. Okay, it might be because I've put them in the same block. Oh, do you know what it probably is? It could be because I've got the wrong colour grey. Let's just click on that grey, use the dropper, make sure I've got the correct grey. Or it might be that I need them in separate blocks. Let's try that, see if it's the correct grey. Green, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so the grey wasn't the correct grey. Oh yeah, and he's stopped. Do you know why he's stopped? Because he's on a colour that we haven't programmed yet, so he's not moving. So let's program the light green and then have a go. So I'm going to press stop again. I'm going to add in another one of these conditional statements. So we're going to say if, this time touching colour, and we have to use the dropper to make sure we get the exact green. So using the dropper, click on your green. So if touching that light green, then we want him to move. And I want him to go even slower than half a second. I want him to go like 0.2 or 0.3 of a second. I'm going to say 0.3. So when he's on this light green near to this red line, which is our crossing the line, we want him to go really slow. If he's on this green, we want him to go quite slow. And if he's on the track, he goes at normal speed. So let's try that. Press the green flag. 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm moving on the track and it's all fine. If I move on to that green, yep, he's slowed down. Let's move on to the other green and see if he goes even slower. Oh yeah, he's going even slow. Oh, this is painfully slow. Yeah, lovely. So you can see it's working. And if I get back on that track, yay, he speeds right up again, which is great because it means that people will be more tempted to follow the track rather than going off the edge. Because if you go off the edge, it's really slow. Okay, good. Let's move that programming onto the pink rat as well, or if you've done it on the pink rat, you need to move it onto the white rat as well. So just see where this forever bit is. If you take it from there, drag it and let go of it on the other rat, and it pings back automatically into the correct place. Just make sure that's joined up. Go onto your pink rat, and then you need to pull it down by the top and see where it's. We've already got that forever move 3 steps. We just get rid of that bit. and ping this new bit on top. So now it says, forever if touching colour grey, move 3 steps. If touching colour dark green, move 0.5 steps. And if touching colour light green, move 0.3 steps. So we've made it more challenging for them. Now we need to set up, actually let's just test that for the pink one as well. It's really good practice to keep testing as you go along, because then if it doesn't work, you can then quickly troubleshoot and debug your programming and make it work again before you continue to the next step. If it's not working, don't panic. Just look really carefully at your programming. Look at what you've told it to do and see if you're missing something, or if your colour's not quite right, or you've hit the wrong key or whatever. So just double check it. You can use mine to help, so have a look at what I've done here. You can pause the tutorial if you need to, or if you want to see these instructions printed out, if it's difficult for you to watch me and be doing it at the same time, you can print out the programming on our website, www.cartwheelsandcreations.com, on the videos and resources page. Okay, so let's just try it quickly for the pink rats, and then once we've done that, we will program the crossing the line business and the laps using variables. 3, 2, 1, go. So my pink rat's going really slow, but if I go on the track, he goes pretty fast. And then, yeah, so that works. Now, you might have noticed another problem there. I'm just going to show you one more time the start. 3, 2, 1, go. Watch what happens. Oh, what's the problem with how they're starting at the moment? It's that they're going in the wrong directions because they're not facing the right way to begin with. We need to tell them to face the correct way. So let's just quickly program that before we do our laps. Put them both back onto the track in roughly the right spot, and just use your Z and X or your arrows to rotate them. So I can do my white one with the arrows. Okay, so when I've rotated them to the correct orientation, they're facing the correct way, you can see that the direction says 75, and that's the direction they need to be in at the beginning. So can you see under motion there's a block that says pointing direction 90, which is like straight across. We're going to take that one and put it right at the beginning. So where it says when the green flag is clicked, we can say point in direction 75, and it shows you what that looks like on that little compass. And I'm going to do the same for my pink rat. When the green flag is clicked, point in direction 75. And now if I click on go, you can say 3, 2, 1, go, and they both head off in the same direction, which is perfect for getting started. Okay, lovely. Now, as I said, we're going to do a variable now so that it counts the laps. So if you click where it says variables, the great thing about variables, variable basically means you want to measure something in the game. So you want to create a variable, you want to create something that you're going to measure. And in this case, we're going to be measuring how many laps they've done. So where it says make a variable, you're going to click on there, and it says new variable name, I'm going to type laps, L-A-P-S. And I don't want to say for all sprites, I want to say that I want to do the laps for this sprite, okay? Then on my white rat, I also want to go make a variable and type laps for this sprite only. So they've each got their own set variable called laps, and you can see they've appeared. So we've got pink laps and we've got white laps. Now it's up to you whether you want to leave those in the corner there or whether you want to put them in a different position on the screen. I'm just going to leave them there for now because that is kind of out of the way. It works for me. So I've got pink laps and white laps. Now we need to set it so that those laps are at 0 when the game first starts. So can you see it says set laps to 0? If you just drag that under the green flag on your white mouse, and then do exactly the same thing on the pink mouse or the pink rat, set laps to 0. And it's really straightforward to make them change. How do you think we're going to make them change when we cross that red line? What do you think we might say? We're going to say, if touching colour red, then change laps by 1, because we want the laps to go up by 1. So we're going to do another of these conditional statements. And again, we could just tag it into this, tag it into this big chain that we've already got going on. Or if that's confusing you, we can just do it in a separate chain. or a separate set of instructions. So if you go to events and say when the green flag is clicked, if you want to do it separately, might be easier. Click on control and say forever, because we always want it to happen whenever you cross the red line, and then choose that if and then block and pop that in there. So we're going to say forever, if touching red, then change laps by 1. So I'm going to go to sensing, touching colour, and again, don't just pick any old random red. You need to make sure you use the dropper to select the exact red of your line. So if touching colour red, go back to variables and say change laps by 1. So now it says forever, if touching colour red, change laps by 1. And I want to do the same for my white mouse, so I can just drag that across onto my white mouse and let go. Check that's there. Yep. Put it on there. And he's also got a variable by laps called laps, so that's absolutely fine. You can leave it as laps, and it knows that you're now talking about his laps and not the pink laps, because the pink laps aren't available for the white mouse or the white rat, and the white rat's laps aren't available for the pink rat. So if I go back to the pink rat again, so we've said if touching colour red, then change laps by 1. We can test that out. So if I press the green flag, 3, 2, 1, go. Now there's a problem. Can you see what the problem is? The laps have already gone up to 12 on both of them, and that's because as it was going past the red line, the laps had already started going up. And all the time. So imagine this is the line. As the rat's going past, it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 till the rat's gone. So how do you think we can solve this and fix it so that it doesn't go up the first time they cross, and so that once they've then crossed the second time, it only goes up once? Anybody got any ideas? Okay, so my solution is, and it may be the same as yours, or you may have come up with something different, but you go to control and you use this wait block, and we say when the green flag is clicked, wait for let's say I'm going to say 5 seconds. That's enough time for the 3, 2, 1 go, and for the rat to have moved past the line. So I can test that now. If I press the green flag, 3, 2, 1 go, and you can see that the pink laps stayed at 0. So that worked. That wait 5 seconds worked at the beginning there. So I'm going to add that in on my white rat as well. Put that in there. Wait 5 seconds at the beginning. So this bottom part, the if touching red, change laps by 1, it's not going to be activated until after this 5 seconds. Okay, I'm going back to the pink one's programming. Okay, now when you get all the way round, we're still going to have this. We're going to have the same problem again, because watch what happens now. If I press the green flag, 3, 2, 1 go, they've gone past and it's fine. But if I drag my rat back and let him cross again, you can see it went up to 12, and we only want it to go up 1 each time it goes past the red line. So what we need to do, we need to put another wait underneath the change laps by 1. So we're saying if touching colour red, change the laps by 1 and then wait for a few seconds. To be honest, we could put even like wait 5 seconds, because we don't want it to it's going to take more than 5 seconds to get all the way around the track. If you think, oh yeah, no, mine's going really fast, make it a little bit less, make it 3 seconds or something. That should be absolutely fine. We can test it by pressing go. 3, 2, 1 go. And as it's the pink rat that I've programmed, I'm just going to drag this pink rat back. Yep, and you can see it just went up by 1, up by 2. Yeah, so it works. And I need to do the same on the white rat's programming. So just put in that wait block under where it says change laps by 1. Just say wait 3 seconds or something like that. Okay, now we need to also just program how each rat wins, and then you've basically done your own racing car game. So it already works in the sense you can move around and your laps are going up. We just need to set the winning part up. So what we need to do now is another conditional statement. We really like these conditional statements if something then something else. So we're going to say if laps equals 3, that we're going to switch the backdrop. Otherwise, we want to keep the track backdrop. So can you see the one that says if and it's here and it's got an else? We're going to use this one this time. So it's a slightly different conditional statement. There's a condition that we're going to put in, but we're also going to say otherwise or else do something else. You'll see in a minute what I mean by that. So get the forever block around the edge of it, because we always want it to happen, and put your event when the green flag is clicked on top. So when the green flag is clicked, forever if, and we're going to say if laps equals 3, and I'm on the white rat here. So when I say laps equals 3, I'm talking about the white rat's laps. So I'm going to go to variables, and I'm going to say take that laps. And at the moment that doesn't fit in there. I need to choose a block that fits, a hexagon shaped block with an equals in it. So if I go to operators, it's like a little sum here. We're going to say if laps are equal to 3, so just change that. If laps are equal to 3, and that should slot in there, then we want to switch our backdrop to the white backdrop, because we're on the white mouse, and then we'll be saying white wins. So we're going to say it's under looks, switch backdrop to white. And can you see where it says else? That means otherwise we want it to go back to the track. So I'm going to say otherwise switch backdrop to track. So if the backdrop is not white, then I want the track, if the laps are not at 3, then I want it on the track backdrop. Okay, so I'm going to press the green flag again and just try that out. So this is the white rat I've programmed. So let's try it. 3, 2, 1, go. So the white rat's off. When he gets to the green bit, he slows down and it's easy to drag him back. So 1 lap, done. 2 lap. When I'm testing, it's okay to drag him back like that because it just makes it easier to test. 3 laps, and you can see it's switched to the white backdrop, and it says white wins. Okay, so that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to happen there. And now I want to do the same for the pink rat. So to make it quicker, I am going to drag this programming onto the pink rat. So just drag it down and let go. Click onto the pink rat. You might need to scroll up there. I'm just going to move it into its own space here. You can just about see it. So when the green flag is clicked, forever, if laps equals 3, now automatically, because we're on the pink rat, it knows that we're talking about the pink rat's laps and not the white rat's laps. And we're going to say if the pink rat's laps equals 3, we want to switch the backdrop to pink. Otherwise, we want the backdrop to be track. Okay, so I'm going to try that out for the pink rat as well. So press the green flag, the backdrop's gone back, which is perfect. 3, 2, 1, go. Let him go past the line, grab the pink one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you might have noticed that these letters have appeared. That's because I already did that little bit of programming right at the beginning on the template for you. Just to show you how I did that, if you come down here, can you see where it says pink? So I've got the letters P-I-N-K. These are actually all sprites that I used. They're available on the sprites menu here where it says choose a sprite. Can you see it's got letters? And I chose the letters from here. Let's go back there. So I've made these sprites basically show. So if I click on the P, you can see on here it says when the green flag is clicked forever, if the backdrop name equals pink, so if it's a pink backdrop, then show, otherwise hide. So these letters all hide, the pink letters all hide unless the backdrop name is pink. Okay, but if the backdrop name is pink, then they show. And if I click on one of the letters from white here, can you see where it says white, W-H-I-T-E? If I click on the W, it's the opposite. So it says if the backdrop name equals white, then show, otherwise hide. So that's how I made the letters hide and show. But it was a little bit of a faff having to copy that onto each letter. So I thought I'll just do that bit for you. This was just a simple operator block like we used a moment ago for the variable, the lapse variable that we did. I think we're basically finished with this racing car game. Now, there are some other little challenges that I could set for you. Let me give you an example. Actually, I'm just going to click go so you can see the track and press stop a minute. So there are a couple of other little challenges. If you're feeling like you want to do a little bit more with this game, you could do something like adding some blocks of cheese along the track that they can collect. Um, and maybe if they get the cheese, it gives them a boost and they suddenly move faster. Or it could be that there's some muddy puddles that slow them down. Or it could be that the cheese slows them down because they stop to nibble it. So you could set a couple of other things in there if you wanted to. It's completely up to you whether you want to add anything different. As I say, you might want to customize the rats a little bit more. Oh, and I also mentioned costume changes. That's a really simple bit of programming. If you want it to look more like they're moving, like their legs are moving as they're moving along, you can have a forever block, and inside that you just say next costume. And so that it doesn't do it so fast, you need a little wait block as well. So forever next costume with a little wait block when the green flag is clicked at the beginning. So have a go at programming the next costume thing if you want to, and also any obstacles you want to add. And don't forget to invite somebody to try out your game with you, because it is a two-player game. So if you're at home with somebody else, maybe they'll be able to have a go at it with you. Otherwise, maybe you can share it with friends and family to try it out. The code for your game or the website address for your game appears at the top here. At the moment it says editor because I'm in the editor, but if you save it and then you look at it, it's just this part here. That's the actual code for your game, or the web address for your game. So you can send that web address to people so that they can find your game easily. At the top, you'll see the option to share it. Mine's already shared. If you press share, it means it's available on the Scratch community. If you don't share it, then other people won't be able to find it unless they're on your computer logged in as you. Once you've shared it, you can also add it to the Cartwheels and Creations Studio if you want to, so that other people that have followed the tutorial can have a go at your game. So you might want to call it Rat Race Template by and put your initials or something like that. Obviously, don't use your real full name on there. And if you're commenting on other people's games, always make sure you leave nice comments or constructive comments. It's not a place to be writing nasty things or whatever. We should all be following the rules of Scratch, remembering that there's lots of users on Scratch of all different ages and different cultures, and everybody's interested in different things and capable of different things, and we should respect that. Anyway, I hope you've really enjoyed the tutorial today. I'm going to have great fun playing my game now, and please feel free to join me any other time to do any of our Scratch tutorials. There's loads of tutorials on the YouTube channel already, so make sure you check them out. And I'm releasing new programming tutorials every Tuesday as well. So feel free to check back or have a look at some of the ones we've done already. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Feel free to message with any questions. And yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.